Unmasking the many faces of gender-based violence. That's the theme for this year's 16 Days of Activism, organized by agencies addressing this issue that affects women, children, and the society. Today, prior to a candlelight vigil to launch the annual activities, the Special Envoy for Women and Children, in collaboration with the Women's Department, the United Nations Development Program, and the United Nations, hosted the first ever student discussion about gender-based violence entitled Let's Have the Talk.
It was real, it was raw, it was to the point, in your face. And that's what we want. We want to know how much do they know and how willing are they to be a part of the elimination of gender-based violence. And as you can see, it was quite evident that they know a lot more than we thought that they knew. It is obviously gender-based violence is very, very prominent in our society. And a lot of times we turn a blind eye. A lot of times we just pretend it doesn't exist. It's not happening to me. And I think the society is ready to speak up.
The students from Wesley College, St. Catherine Academy, St. John's College, and Edward P. York broke the silence, speaking on challenges facing them as the youth, including street harassment, sexual abuse, and bullying. But is it a cultural issue where the roles of boys and girls are predetermined by traditional beliefs of the family? One student, 16-year-old Bernice Ramirez, opened the discussion. A fourth former at Edward P. York High School, she plans on changing the stigma.
At our school, we have the peer helping program, and so we encounter these things on a regular basis. And finding the information and everything was really, it wasn't that hard, because we normally encounter it every day. But definitely, we see this in our society, in our everyday lives, and what we're doing here is just bringing awareness. One of the most prevalent issues is definitely teenage pregnancy, right? That most girls are, locked up in silence, they fall in these traps, they start living with this guy, and all of these things start to happen. So that was like one of the main triggering points that kept on showing in the research, So that's why we're trying to more bring to the awareness these things.
While men were singled out primarily as the perpetrators of gender-based violence, it is not always the case. According to Human Development Coordinator for Women and Children, Cynthia Williams, there are various forms of gender-based violence. There are also various programs in place to assist victims who may not know of the recourse, legal or otherwise, that can be accessed. Williams says that women as well as men are protected and they are coming forward for help.
When it comes to protection for victims and survivors of violence, we have the Domestic Violence Act that was enacted in 2007. And what that does, it includes several aspects or several types of relationships, such as the visiting relationship, which was not included in the previous act. It strengthened penalties for perpetrators who break the protection orders. It also includes the scope of persons who can make the applications for victims in cases where they might not be able to get to the court. What it also did is also include the aspect of economic violence, which includes persons who are controlled through finances, whose finances are withheld. And in the previous act, that was not included as either. So that is something that we felt it was important to add, because often people only see physical violence. They don't see the aspect of economic abuse as a form of abuse, but it's actually something that is perpetrated commonly between men and women.
I think we're seeing more men being brave enough to report these incidences. I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing that we're opening up the avenue for men to say, listen, I am being abused. Because remember, before, no one wanted to talk about it, or we just pretended that, it's just, I think now men are being brave enough to report a crime.
Duane, Moody for News 5.